How are you, Samantha? How are you, Danny? Nice to see you. How are you, Danny? Nice to see you. I just thought I'd put it on mute a minute just while I'm setting up so you don't listen to me swearing and everything. But I do need to concentrate on this part of the job, so I will. So we're about to do some dominoes now. What I like to do when I make shaker doors, shaker panels and everything, I think the way I normally go about it first is I normally do my dominoes first. Now the reason for doing the domino first is for when you cut your trench line or your rebate, whatever you want to call it, in your timber for your panel to go into, these little lugs on the domino machine, they get caught up in there. So I always cut my dominoes first, and then I'll carry on and get my rebates cut, and then after that, then everything else just falls in place. So we're going to go ahead now, set the domino up, set the height and everything, and then we'll be good to go then, and we can get all these all dominoed together, and then on to the next phase of the job. So these are the awkward bits when you're trying to use the domino, but have I got enough space? That's what I'm checking for. It looks like, because I made the 22mm timber this time. This is what I struggle with the domino, right? Here's a little tip. If you're using stock, once you go to 18mm, when you're using the actual domino, it can't sit on the table. It tips it up slightly. So if you're making anything, any projects in the house or anything like that, if you make it 22mm thick, I knew that was the magic number. When this locks on top of there for cutting, this bed is off the floor so it don't foul you, so you can go ahead and do your cut. So that's why I made these 22mm thick, because I wanted to avoid that problem. I've been there before, it's a right pain. Right, so anyway, let's clamp this up. Once I've done one and I see what I'm doing, I'm away to go then. But it's just making sure everything's right. You only get one attempt of these things. You know what I mean? You spend all that time and money on your material, you don't want to ruin it in one go. Right, so here we go. Pop that on there. Let's see if that's sitting flat. That is just right. Looks like we're not having any problem there. Lovely stuff. That's nice and square through there now. Common problem using the dominoes is not running them square. You've got to be so careful. It's all practice, mind. I don't use this machine a lot, so I like to take my time. There's one cut there. Spin that. Clamp him in. Lovely. Cut away. As you can see, there is no dust. It is a dustless machine. It is absolutely great. So that's your little mortise and tenors. Let's move these over to here. So the ones I've cut, I'm going to put aside. So we just go ahead now and cut the lot. Lovely. There we are, look. I will say, mind, when you set up and you're running a domino, whatever you're running, it is a right pain if you realise you've got to the end, you're gluing something up and you've missed one of them out. So it's always best to double check, because you're all set up. You don't want to be getting everything back out, resetting everything up just to cut one little tiny domino, because trust me, I've been there and done that once and I never want to do that again. So now that we've cut all the dominoes, we need to do the rebates. So I'm going to make myself a cup of tea. No, we haven't. We're not finished yet. We've got to do all these ones now. So next it's on to these. So I need to cut into there and I need to cut into there. So I'm going to get myself set up for this now. Let's have a look. That'll be fine as it is. Don't need any of these unless I use them. So pop out of sight. Over to there. These ain't gonna catch, are they? No. So that's what I'll do. And that's the beauty of these. You can just make yourself a simple, quick jig, job done. Right, let me just sort this out a sec. Right. Let me just double check all these are cut. They're cut. This nice and safe. No, that's in my way. So this one we are going slightly wider with this now. I'll just show you the difference. Let's pop that in here. As you can see, this is slightly wider, so I get a little bit of adjustment now when I'm gluing up, which is great. Always do that. I've been there in the past thinking, oh, I'll cut all these tight, I'll get it all to fit. We haven't got that little adjustment. These give you a couple of mil. They're absolutely great. Nice design. Right, anyway, I'm going to crack on with this. So there's the two sides now, and then obviously this will connect into there, and this is what's going to create my shaker panel. These little drop downs are my legs. It's on a previous video that I made, so if you want to check that out, don't forget to check it out. It's what's the video called now? It's a oak shaker dressing table. So if you're interested in that, jump on that video. It's a nice little video, that one. Absolutely lovely. You're back, you Danny. Nice to see you entering the room again. Right, so all we're doing is cutting these dominoes, but I'm doing the reverse hand now, so I need to come around this side. And this is the last one now for this little set. Right, so it looks like we've cut all these dominoes now, so I'm happy with that. Obviously these fit into here then with a little bit of wood glue, and then I can clamp and get glue them all together, which we're going to be doing later. But what we got to do now is we got to router them. But I might get myself a cup of tea, I don't know yet. Let's have a look. Right, so we've got to write one. So we need to router these first. So I will set my router now. We're only going in about 5mm deep. We're going to be using the little palm router for this job. I can't remember if it's great, this one on this, but I'm going to have a go anyway. So I'm just going to set these up now for routing. Why isn't that going in there? There's a bit of wood glue was falling down. So I'll just use these Festool stops now. Pop that in there. Pop that in there. And push that into there. So then when I'm pushing on the router, it doesn't go anywhere. I'm pushing in this direction. That keeps that solid for me for routing then. Right, I'm going to pick a depth. I'm on live.
Have some sandpaper.
What paper do you want, Riley?
Just a bit of 120 grit. Excellent. Do you want a cuppa?
Yeah, don't mind. I only got a cup out there.
Um,
Thank you. Right, so centre of this. There's a bit above centre on there already. So that is centre. Let's mark here. Then we want to measure up. Another 5mm. So this mark will be the top of my cut. That's what I plan to do. Right there. Now let's just set the router. Come on. Top of cut about there. So all I'm doing now is I'm setting the router to the height that I would like my panel to go. This is about 5mm deep, this cutter, if I remember right. It's got a bearing by there. So I'll get bearing, will just guide me through the cut. Nice, simple, easy tool to use. Just take your time. I'm cutting oak. This is quite a new blade here, mind. It is a brand new blade on there. So I'm just going to take my time. Obviously I've got a dust extraction hose to keep in mind. So I'll go ahead and cut these now. Just thought I'd do this on a live as something a bit different for you. I know there's not a lot on you watching this. You're obviously interested in my other lives. But we'll go ahead now and we will get this cut. Right, let's get the hose connected. Battery, hose. Let's have a look. I don't want this being in my way, see? Maybe go for there. So I'm going to clamp. Pop a clamp there. Pop my hose in there. So that's just going to guide that away then. That'll be lovely. You'll see me talking to myself a lot because it's quite common for me to talk to myself. Right, so here goes. Let's get this little groove cut now. So look, if that router's not going to foul by there, just got to be careful coming out because we've got to stop that we don't want to hit. So when I come out with a router, we don't want to hit this. And this setup looks like it's going to be just right. So let's have a look at these. These are cut right the way through. Let's go ahead and do this. Well, it looks like this blade has moved. Look at that. Just showing you on a live. Look at that. It's got unclipped this. The blade's actually moved down a bit. So, that is not good. I'll go ahead and recut because that's the top, that's my face, that's the underside of the panel. So I'm not too worried about that. But, why is it moved? We don't know. take the battery out and have a look. Yes, it's definitely come down. So it looks like the router blade have moved. Just tighten them up and have a look. Yeah, it's definitely moved. Can you believe that? I should have really tested it on a test piece first, but that's the way it goes. Right, so where's my blade? Let's have a look. Alright, so I thought that cut felt a little bit odd then, but the blade's obviously moved on here, which I'm not happy about. Right, we will start again. Luckily it's moved down. It's not really going to affect this job much. This is for myself. I don't think you're going to see it anyway. But we'll reset the router now. Let's get it all back to the same where we started. That's looking good. Right, so hopefully the blade doesn't move this time. I've just caught this lock. I don't know if you can see that on camera. Where to is it there? Look at that. Ruined it. So there we go. It is what it is. We can always buy a new set of them, can't we? Right, so that's that. We're going to start again. Could have been the vibration on the yoke causing that. I wasn't really pushing the cutter too hard. I was going nice and quiet. So we'll go again now. We should be good to go. Well, that was a bit of a nightmare. It was trying to get back up into that groove. So I managed to sort it out. That isn't perfect, but when I go to put all this paneling together, it looks like I can sort that out. So I'm not 100% happy with that one. We will carry on, mind, and we'll make sure it's all tidy then. So this one, let's have a look at this to see if this cuts nice. Otherwise, I'm going to have to get the big router out. I'm not 100% if that blade has moved. Let's have a look. Right, we got the bed in there. Let's go with the flow, is that? Let's have a look. Bit of a nightmare. Well, that one's cut just right, as you can see. And then this one is the first one I just cut, which we had a bit of a nightmare on, look, and we got that bit of a problem there. But the top is great. That's the back. You're not going to see none of that, luckily. So I managed to sort it out. It hasn't moved on this one, so I'm happy to carry on now. But that's the problem, see, when you're doing these things. So we'll carry on and cut these now. I'll take my time. Another one cut, lovely. Lovely. Let's just see if these line up now. This is what we're making sure of. That's what we're trying to keep an eye on. Are these line up going through the middle there? Because if we have any misalignment like this, your panel's not going to fit. So we're doing all right. They are good. Let's cut these ones now. So let's carry on with this. So that's the last one of them. I got to go ahead now and cut the remaining sides, which is our styles. So we will do them next. So we got them cut. We got them cut. I'm going to have a sip of my tea. So it just goes to show when you're doing a live video, nothing always goes to plan. So we managed to sort that little problem out that we had. I'm happy. So when I make the panel, when I glue the panel up, for those of you who's been following this, then you can actually see that difference in variation, but it'll only be seen from the back. But this is going to be an oak shaker stool, all right? You're not going to see that because there's going to be a hidden feature in there, but I can't really say it now because it'll be on the video. But when it actually gets all made, you'll see what I'm on about. I'm trying not to say too much about it. Oh, let me put my cup over there. So I've got a bit of a mess down there. Let me just hoover this up as well. So I've got the sides to cut now. That's the next thing to do. Once I've cut all these sides, then I will be going on my dinner break, which I'm going to have. And then after we've done that, we're going to get the centre panels cut, which we showed you earlier, with the oak veneers. And we can get them all glued up then. And that's when you're going to see exactly what it's going to look like. I think they're going to look stunning. Don't forget to stay tuned if you want to follow the rest of that as well, and don't forget to like and subscribe. I can't wait until I can build this workshop, which is going to be in the next couple of years, and then I'll have everything set up, because I'm going to have a CMS router set and everything, so I'm not messing around with these little palm routers. That's great on a job, but doing this sort of work, one little mistake and you ruin the piece. Obviously it's nice to do it on a table router. So what we got to do now is we got these pieces. These are our styles, our sides. This is going to be my leg on this piece of oak. I don't know if you can see that on here. So now I just need to route it up here. I normally start halfway through the domino and then I go all the way up. And that's the way I like to do it. And I'll go right through this domino then. No, I won't. I'm going to stop about halfway through this domino as well. That's the plan. So let me think. I got my... Sometimes you've got to think to yourself. So there we are, see, this panel goes into there, see, can you see that on there now? So that's the groove we're actually cutting. So that's going to be by there, so I'm going to start, I don't even need to be in the domino really. So if I start just in the domino and finish just in the domino up there, that should be good. So we'll have a look at that now and get this cut. So we are now back on to routing. If you've got a big job and a lot of panels to cut, obviously you can just spend the day routing them, but this is a little project and you're jumping back and forth things like domino routing and so on. So let's just get this done now. I will be happy. Pop that hose in there. And later on then we'll do a glue up video. And then tomorrow then we just got to sand the faces, re-domino. You'll start seeing it all coming together, but I need to do a bit of filming for that. There we go. That is it. Right, so here goes. So that's as far I like to cut. If I just get my other one now. Might be watching this thinking, what is he doing here? But this is how it's done, right? This is how I do it. I don't have a problem. So this is the groove we've just cut in here, our rebate, all right? This will then line up to there. And let me just get you a better view. That's where the panel will fit, see? So that's the veneered panel that we made. It's going to slot right into this groove lock, see, into the rebate. And that's the nice, proper way, traditional way of making shaker door. Right, so we just cut one of them. I do prefer this method. I hate all this glue on, nail on nonsense, alright? This is the hardest way to make a door, but it's the best and strongest way. I've got work that's been done for years now, and there's not a problem with it as long as it's done right. So I'll just move this aside now and we will carry on. So there's number one. We will cut the rest of these now. Just take my time. I don't want my router blade to move again because that will be a bit of a nightmare. So let's just go ahead and cut these. Second one. Now the reason I'm not cutting all the way through this section here is from above you're going to see a groove and we don't want that. So that's why I had to stop here. Doesn't affect the domino. You only got 5mm in and you still got a little glue up space by there as well, which I find is enough for these. Right, so we're on the reverse leg now. I need to start from up here and finish down there. So I just got to concentrate because this is different to the other ones. You can, if you wish, go past your line where we got our little style coming out. But as long as you don't go past there, from looking from the underside, you're not going to have no problem, alright? So when I glue all this together later now, you will actually see all this nonsense I'm going on about. Go past this, go past that, and so on. And you'll know what I'm going on about then. And you will actually see it. But there's the rebate, alright? We've cut the rebates in the oak. We've cut the dominoes. These are going to be our little legs on this side, actually. So when we glue them up later, I don't know those of you who's watching this, if you want to carry on following this and you want to see the glue up later, obviously like and subscribe so you can follow that. I'm going to have a little bit of grub now. I'm just going to double check these before I go off the live to make sure I've actually cut everything, make sure I've dominoed everything, because it's a right pain if you forget about one of them. And then you go and you're on your glue up and you realise you missed a domino. So it's always best to pick them up. Alright. I just like to hold them like this as a set. When you've got your set in your hand, you can see you've cut all your dominoes there. I've cut all my dominoes there, and I've got all of my rebates cut. So I know that's good. I'll then go and pick up the next set. Alright. This is what I do. I'll have a look at this set. I'll make sure I've cut all my rebates in here. I've got all my dominoes. Everything's looking nice and true. The dominoes are all looking in line. If you think one is slightly out, set the machine and recut it just to be on the safe side. Alright, because it can tip your workpiece. So that's them. Let's put these over here. And I do the same with these ones then. Alright, I'll double check to see if I've got them all cut. Make sure I've got all my little rebates cut as well. Happy days, so we know they're good. And then we'll go ahead and check the last set. Alright, once I've seen all these are cut, I know that I can pack everything away and not worry about it then. And that's the way I like to do it. It's not being over the top. It's just a nightmare if you've got to set everything back up. So don't forget now, like and subscribe. If you want to follow any more of this, I am going to be posting a video at the end of the week. Don't know why my lip looks a bit funny on here. And I'm just going to clean up now. I'm going to have a bit of grub. And then we're going to cut the panels and we're going to do a glue up. So if you want to carry on watching this, don't forget to like and subscribe. I know I mentioned it about 5 times in a row. I'll see you